Yo, it's the exam coach checking in with you. Just wanted to announce I'm going to be doing a little project in time for exam season. Here's what it is. So one of the main things students message me about all the time is how exactly they can become less distracted by their smartphone. We've all been there. We're cracking on and cruising. All of a sudden there's a ping sound, a little vibration, our head whips round and we're on our phone. And even sometimes we thought we heard something or felt something and we check our phone and there's nothing there. Happens to me the whole time. It's as if we've been conditioned to periodically check up on our phones. So we go to see what the notification is all about and all of a sudden we're sucked into a whole load of other content. 3 hours later, all of our free time's gone and we can't even remember what we went on our phone to do in the first place. So I thought a good way to help here would be to give you my view on the situation, specifically looking at social media. And then I'll go through some popular social media apps and show you how you can set them up to minimize distraction during exam season. Now, I've chosen social media as the main topic of focus on the smartphone because of its popularity, but also because it has a very powerful ability to capture our attention and then keep it there for a very long period of time. And I'll be shooting this series in vertical format so that you can see all the little tweaks and adjustments I'm making on the social media apps nice and clearly. In this video, I'm going to lay out some important context you need to know before you watch the app-specific videos. If you want to be alerted of when the app-specific videos are available, hit the subscribe button and then also hit the little bell notification thingy, which will give you a notification when I upload the video. First things first, if you want to do well in your exams, you have to focus on the content you're trying to learn. Most people's social media feeds do not contain content that is relevant to their exams, and that's okay. In fact, that's normal. That said, we all know our smartphone can carry out some useful tasks that can make our revision faster and more effective. Searching for information online, revision apps, using your smartphone as a stopwatch, following motivation or exam tip pages, and even messaging your parents to stock up on the brain fuel and liquid thinking whilst they're down the shops. All of these are examples of how your smartphone can help. Now, let me be very clear. I do not think we should be pushing the smartphone and social media to one side. They're now an integral part of how our society works. I think that 500 years from now, people are going to be talking about the internet and the smartphone as two of the key things that went on during this period of time. What we need to prioritize is figuring out how we can extract as much upside as possible from this device whilst avoiding or dodging the downside. If the smartphone and social media can in some way contribute to our focus on exams, then we need to figure out how to do that. I'm going to use some of my experience and what I learned from 2 years on the job working for this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk. You may have seen him on the internet talking about social media, business, and the New York Jets. He's also CEO of VaynerMedia, the company I used to work for, which is a global advertising agency. During my time helping build the London arm of VaynerMedia, I looked at social media and the internet from the perspective of big companies and tried to help them figure out how they could get the best return on their advertising spend. In this video series, I'm going to assess things from the standpoint of you as a social media user and also combine this with the realities of what's needed to prepare and perform well in your exams. I'll use some of what I learned about how each of the social media apps are set up and the flow of user attention within them to inform my advice. It's also important to take into account the research that has been done so far on social media and young people. From what I know so far and the research I've done, it's clear that there's two sides to the debate of social media's impact on young people. But before we dive into that, let's just think about why you should be interested in this anyway. The primary reason for this is because the amount of time young people in particular are spending on these apps is very high, and it's likely to increase in the future. Figures released by Ofcom, the UK communications regulator, state those aged 15 to 24 on average spend 4 hours a day on their smartphones, compared with 2 hours 49 minutes for all adults. The young also check their phones every 8.6 minutes, more frequently than any other age group. You can also see companies trying to self-regulate themselves because they know how much time people are spending on their app. For example, Instagram recently set up a new type of notification that tells users when they're all caught up on the new content in their newsfeed. Also, they've created a whole new part of the app that allows users to better track the time they spend on the app and set notifications for when they hit certain limits. Okay, so still trying to think about this objectively, what is there to say that all this time we spend on social media is a good thing or a bad thing? To do this, we need to look at the quality of time young people are spending within the apps, and as a consequence, what it makes them do, feel, and think on a day-to-day basis. Let's look at both sides of the argument briefly. On the positive side, you could look at social media as an awesome opportunity no other generation has had beforehand. We can connect with pretty much anyone we want to, we can express ourselves freely, we can learn about the world around us from other people, and we can be part of online communities. There are some really positive, useful, and inspirational parts to every social media network. And even just being able to stay in touch with the group of people or people we care about when we're not physically with them can help to stabilize and maintain healthy social relationships. On the other side of the argument, there is evidence to suggest that social media can affect people's well-being. The leading academic work here is by Jean Twenge, a professor of psychology at San Diego State University. She states, iGen, or young people born between 1995 and 2012, have experienced a significant increase in anxiety disorders since around 2012. Exactly when smartphones became pretty much ubiquitous in society. She cites feelings of comparison, social approval, information overwhelm, and falsely equating online experiences and relationships with the relationships that we form in real life face to face. In addition, the smartphone fills time when we would otherwise be able to reflect on our thoughts and emotions. It can sometimes stop us from gaining a healthy perspective on life and doing things we definitely know to increase human happiness. For example, exercise. At some point in time, I felt all of the things that I just mentioned, and I know you probably have too. The punchline here is social media can have a positive effect on you and a negative effect on you. It all depends on how you're using it, and then importantly, how you're interpreting the content you receive on social media, and one step further, how that then informs your feelings, your thoughts, and your actions on a day-to-day basis. The concept of digital nutrition is one of the best ways I've come across for thinking about our relationship with social media. Australian psychologist Jocelyn Brewer has explained digital nutrition as the virtual nutritional values of the online content we consume. For example, a session on a particular Instagram page could be the equivalent to smashing a quarter pounder with chips, whilst a session on another could be the equivalent to a protein shake and a side salad. Just like how we're mindful of food we like the taste of and how over a long period of time it might have a negative impact on our health, we need to think the same way about digital media content and how that can affect us both mentally and physically. You need a balanced diet in order to stay healthy both online and offline, physically and mentally. As I go through the pointers for each app, I want you to think about how you can relate them to your own personal usage. Everyone uses social media slightly differently, and we interpret the content on it differently too. Take note of the key principles I mentioned and get good at applying them for yourself. I say this because the apps are going to update in the future. They're going to change. And with that, the user interface is going to change, and you need to be able to adapt to that situation in order to be able to extract the most value continuously and avoid any negative things that could pop up. Going back to the digital nutrition analogy for a minute, updates to apps could mean that algorithms throw a lot more junk food in your direction. You just need to be able to find the healthy stuff each time an update happens. The bottom line is, if you can establish and stick to some basic principles of how you use social media during exam season, you're going to be in a good spot. Okay, that's it for this introductory video. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you want to be notified about the app-specific videos that are going to be coming out over the next few weeks, hit subscribe, hit like, that also helps. And remember the bell notification, hit that too, and that means you will be notified when those videos are available. Then you can watch them and, most importantly, apply them to your own situation so that during exam season, you're going to be fine. I'm checking out.